Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the DC preliminary of Famelab Astrobiology. I'm Sean Domingal-Goldman. I'm going to be your host for this morning. I'll be introducing our contestants, but before we get to that, I'm going to introduce our judges who have so graciously volunteered to provide their services to us today. I'm going to start on your right with David Grinspoon. Dr. Grinspoon is curator of astrobiology at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science and is an adjunct professor of astrophysical and planetary science at the University of Colorado. A frequent advisor to NASA, he is lead scientist for astrobiology on an instrument that is now on its way to Mars on the Curiosity rover. One of his books, Venus Revealed, was a Los Angeles Times Book Prize finalist, while another, Lonely Planets, The Natural Philosophy of Alien Life, was a Penn Literary Award for research nonfiction. His popular writing has appeared in Slate, Scientific American, Natural History, Astronomy, the Boston Globe, the LA Times, and the New York Times. He was awarded the 2006 Carl Sagan Medal for Public Communication of Planetary Science by the American Astronomical Society. Please help me in thanking David for joining us today. Next to David, we have Linda Billings. Dr. Billings is a research professor at the George Washington University School of Media and Public Affairs in Washington, D.C. She does communications research for NASA's astrobiology program in the Science Mission Directorate. She has also advised NASA's lead scientist for Mars exploration and NASA's planetary protection officer on communications. Her research has focused on the rhetoric of science and space exploration and the social construction of scientific authority. She earned her PhD in mass communication from the Indiana University School of Journalism, her MA in international transactions from George Mason University, and her BA in social sciences from SUNY Binghamton. Please join me in welcoming Linda to the Famelab stage. Thanks, Linda. And next to her is Bill Margol. Bill Margol is a graduate of Syracuse University's S.I. Newhouse School of Public Communications. He has worked for the last 23 years in many positions in the television industry. Covering the ground of writer, producer, editor, developer, and executive, Bill has worked at the Sci-Fi Channel, TNT, the Travel Channel, where he launched the groundbreaking series Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations, and Discovery Studios. In 2008, Bill joined National Geographic Television as Director of Development, and in 2011 took on the role of Vice President, heading up all development for National Geographic Television. Bill has a love of science and adventure, and in spite of that, the fact that he would most certainly lose his lunch in his helmet, dreams of one day being an astronaut. Please join me in welcoming Bill to the Famelab stage. And finally, next to me is Nikki Lowry. Nikki is Director of Film Marketing and Outreach for National Geographic Cinema Ventures. As such, she markets their giant screen and digital films to museums and science centers, as well as manages the education outreach for these films, with particular emphasis on STEM education. Nikki's experience spans education and entertainment marketing. She has served as film commissioner in Park City, Utah, as well as director of marketing for the Sundance Institute, the Sundance Film Festival, and the Miami International Film Festival. She has taught college-level English language and literature. Figures I get that part of it wrong, right? She has taught college-level English language and literature and English as a second language in both Thailand and Lebanon. She has been the senior marketing manager for the National Geographic Explorer Classroom magazine, which brings science content to 2 million students in grades K through 12. Please join me in welcoming Nikki to the stage.
You look stunning. And by stunning, I mean well organized. Everyone's sitting in a separate chair, facing the same direction, except you. Your organization will teach us why life can evolve according to physical law. Suppose that outside there's a zombie apocalypse. We can't leave. Soon, we won't look so organized. We'll build tents, we'll roast rats, we'll sharpen our spears and memorize the Lord of the Flies. Why? As time marches on, organization decays. Plates break, but don't reassemble, especially my mother's favorite plates. A physical law, the second law of thermodynamics, says that many systems become more disordered. Evolution seems to contradict the second law. 4 million years ago, carbon, hydrogen, and other atoms were frolicking about. Then atoms bound into molecules. They assumed fixed positions relative to each other, just as you have fixed positions relative to your neighbors. Molecules bound into cells, cells into people. It's as though the Lord of the Flies chaos resolved into the Republic of Famelab. How can a disordered primordial soup evolve into an ordered organism? Let's think about how systems get organized. What's your favorite food? Cheese. Okay, when Hillary eats cheese, her body uses cheese's energy to create cells, to repair cells, to create order. We not only use energy, but also radiate energy. That is, we're hot. Some of you might be thinking, yeah, we are. We are. We have temperatures of about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Our surroundings have lower temperatures, especially DC in March. Heat moves from hotter areas to colder areas. When we use energy, we radiate energy to air molecules. Energized air molecules jump around, they bump into each other, they're disordered. We create more disorder outside us than order in us. So, organized life can form in the keeping with the second law of thermodynamics. Still, if there is a zombie apocalypse and anyone has a shotgun, come talk to me after the speech.
That was terrific. Great start. Great presentation, great audience interaction. You know, if somebody had said chocolate cake, I'm sure you would have done great with chocolate cake instead of cheese. All really super, very clear, very easy to understand, great analogies. Your enthusiasm is really, really good. Be careful you don't start at, to use the Spinal Tap analogy, at 11. Get yourself there. Do you know what I mean? So you want to, because if you start out with all of the energy in the world, you got no place to go in terms of your presentation. And so, although the enthusiasm was fantastic, pace yourself a little bit. You know, don't take us over the top right away. But really, really great.
I second Bill's remarks. I was really engaged by your presentation. You did a great job. You have a wonderful stage presence. And at first I started to think, oh, little kids would love her. And then I'm thinking about, I love it too. So, great job.
Wonderful presentation. I agree that you're very theatrical, and yet not in a way that takes away from the content. I thought, you know, intellectually you were actually presenting concepts at a pretty high level, and yet using this very theatrical style. So it's a great combo. The one thing I would have liked a little bit more was at the end to know exactly like what your punchline was. Like, you were throwing these interesting concepts at us, and I got a lot out of it, but I just would have liked to have seen you kind of summarize at the end what your point is, drive it home. Yeah.
I just wanted to call out again the audience interaction, because that's the first example of that we've seen, and I think it's a very powerful way for you to engage with your audience, because then they're all like this. So, and great use of humor, which I think is also another very effective engagement tactic. Good job.
Thank you very much. Life is like a garbage dump. Never mind what you hear about boxes of chocolates. Living systems are organized like dumps. By thinking about a dump, we can understand why life evolves, why we can exist. Picture a dump. See the rusty bicycles. Breathe in the stench of rotting eggs. Let's give our dump a stench rating. If the cat droppings mix with old meatloaf, then the stench knocks us out and has a rating of 10. If food occupies one bin, cardboard another, and so on, then the smell just turns us pale green and has a rating of 1. Now, picture a primordial soup. Carbon atoms mix with hydrogen, oxygen, and other atoms. Carbon atoms are like milk cartons. Hydrogen is like old tires. The primordial soup is like a dump where the rubbish mixes. Primordial soups have high stench ratings. Stench doesn't sound scientific. Physicists say entropy. Primordial soups are disordered. They have high entropy. Organisms have low entropy. The atoms in us are organized into molecules and cells. A cell is like a bin in the dump. A dump that has bins has a low stench rating. Organisms that have cells have low entropy. How can a disordered, high-entropy primordial soup evolve into an ordered, low-entropy organism? If we throw more rubbish in the dump, the stench doesn't improve, right? Wrong. If we put clothespins on our noses and organize the dump, we can organize the dump only if we dirty our clothes, if we pollute while driving to the dump, if we create more disorder outside the dump than order in the dump. Similarly, as life has evolved on Earth, the Earth has radiated heat. We've polluted outer space with energy. Evolution creates more disorder outside living systems than order in living systems. Organized life can evolve in keeping with the second law of thermodynamics, in keeping with physical laws. You and I can exist. And life is like a garbage dump. It stinks, it has slime, but wouldn't you rather play in the slime than sit with a box of chocolates?
That was beautiful. Really fun and funny and informative and thought-provoking. I have a question about your experience because you're so dramatic on stage. I'm curious, do you have, beyond science, do you have any kind of theater or other performance background or experience?
I've been addicted to public speaking since I was 11. I'm sorry, but I don't want to recover. So I've participated in a lot of clubs, done public speaking opportunities in school, out of school, anything I can get my hands on.
David answered my question, and I love the dump.
Thank you.
I think it was terrific. You know, this afternoon we talked about you starting at 11, you know, to use the Spinal Tap analogy, to starting at 11 and I think you did a great job of just sort of bringing us all in and really bringing it home. So, really nice job.